You ever had a memory that felt so real you could smell it, touch it, even feel your heartbeat change, and then someone looks you dead in the eye and tells you it never happened? This is the story I've been too scared to tell. Until now. When everything started, it felt harmless. I thought I just needed a break from life. Anyone would. Imagine packing up your suitcase after a divorce that drained you inside out, leaving behind a city that felt like it was built from stress and car horns. I wanted quiet. I wanted safety. I wanted to remember who I was before everything got messy. So I went to the only place that ever felt gentle, my grandmother's village. Not a town, not a suburb, a village, a dot on a map, the kind of place that doesn't show up on GPS unless you beg it. I still remember stepping off the bus and feeling that first breath of fresh air, dirt, smoke from wood stoves, cold grass my childhood in one inhale. My chest loosened, my brain finally unclenched. For the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't breaking apart. And then I saw her, my grandmother, standing by the old wooden gate, smiling like she'd been waiting for me since the day I left as a kid. The moment she opened her arms, I swear something inside me finally shut up. All the thoughts, the noise, the anxiety, they just went silent. I leaned into her and felt warmth. Real warmth. Her clothes smelled like chamomile and old blankets, the exact smell I used to bury my face in when I was little. She said, "You came home, sweetheart. Home. God." That word felt good. We walked inside the house. Everything was exactly where it belonged. The squeaky step in the hallway, the blue teapot with a chipped handle, the old photo frames with pictures that haven't changed since I was 13. I dropped my suitcase and felt safe. If only I knew how fast that safety would rot. The first strange thing was small enough to ignore. I woke up at 3 a.m. because I heard voices too, maybe 3 talking in the kitchen. Not loud, not angry, just whispering. I sat up, confused. Why would my grandmother have guests over at this hour? She never does that. But I convinced myself it was nothing. Maybe a radio left on. Maybe neighbors stopped by. Maybe I just dreamed it. But in the morning, I asked, "Who came by last night?" She paused, longer than a person should pause. Then she smiled and said, "No one. You must have been dreaming." I wanted to believe her. So I did, until the second night. This time I heard footsteps. Slow, careful, right outside my bedroom door. The kind of steps someone takes when they don't want you to know they're there. I lay frozen, listening to each creak in the floor. I swear the footsteps stopped right at my door. Then the handle moved, just a little, like someone was testing it, not trying to enter, just checking. I wanted to think it was my grandmother, but something in my stomach twisted, telling me it wasn't. When I opened the door, nobody was there, just the dim hallway, the walls, the ticking clock. In the morning, my grandmother wouldn't look at me. Not really. She kept asking if I slept well, if I was feeling myself, if I remembered everything. Everything what? Something was off. I could feel it like electricity in the air. On the third day, the village turned on me. I went to the tiny local store, expecting the same warm faces I'd known since childhood. Instead, the moment I walked inside, it felt like I stepped into the wrong funeral. People stared, hard, like I'd done something horrible and forgotten about it. The cashier, the same woman who used to give me extra candy when I was little, could barely meet my eyes. She handed me my change without touching me and said, "You should go home. It's better for everyone." Better for everyone? What does that even mean? Outside, a man I'd never seen stood across the street, staring at me like I was a stain on the world. When I looked at him, he turned away, instantly, suddenly. Every window felt like an eye. I ran home, but home didn't feel like home anymore. That evening, my grandmother asked me strange questions again. "You're not hearing anything unusual, are you? You're sleeping okay? You didn't see anyone?" "Anyone who?" Then she told me not to leave the house at night. The way she said it, it wasn't protective. It was scared. Of what? Or who? Or me? I didn't want to think about it. But then came the night that broke me. I woke up because I felt someone looking at me. You know that feeling like a spotlight on your skin even when your eyes are closed. When I opened my eyes, my grandmother was sitting on a chair next to my bed. Not like she accidentally sat there, like she'd been there for a long time. Just watching, I jumped so hard, my heart almost left my body. She didn't move, didn't apologize, didn't act surprised. She only said, "You should stay here. You're not safe in the city." I tried to ask what she meant, but she wouldn't answer. She kept saying I was tired, that I wasn't thinking clearly, that she'd take care of me. When I asked for my phone, she said she moved it. When I asked for my passport, she said she put it away somewhere, safe. That was the moment fear bloomed in my throat, like poison. I wasn't a guest anymore. I was a problem, and I had to get out. I waited till she went to the bathroom, grabbed my backpack, ran, didn't even put on proper shoes. I just sprinted to the road with my heart in my ears. Every shadow on the street looked like someone following me. Every distant voice felt like it had my name in it. When the bus finally showed up, I climbed inside, shaking like I'd been dropped into ice water. I didn't look back at the village. I couldn't. Something about it felt wrong, in a way I didn't have words for. But nothing prepared me for what I found when I got home. My apartment didn't match my memory. Where were my ex-husband's things? Where were the leftover documents from the divorce? The shared photos? The wedding pictures? Gone. Not gone like cleaned up. Gone like they were never there. My phone had no messages from him. No calls. No photos. My social media had no trace of him. I checked the marriage record online. Nothing. It felt like someone had erased half my life with a giant delete button. But the worst part? My grandmother's recent pictures weren't on my phone either. Only old ones. Years old. I started shaking. Hard. My breath was ragged. Shallow. Like someone was squeezing my ribs shut. Where had I been? What was real? I didn't even think. I just walked straight to the psychiatric clinic. And thank God I did. Because that's where everything shattered. The psychiatrist listened to every detail. From the voices at night, to the village store, to the people watching me, to my grandmother acting strange. He didn't interrupt, didn't judge, didn't laugh. He just asked one question. "What date did you leave the city?" I told him. He wrote something down. Then he said, "You weren't here. Not just for 2 weeks. You've been missing for 14 days. Gone. Completely. Nobody knew where you were." My stomach dropped. I said I was at my grandmother's house, and he looked at me with the saddest eyes I've ever seen on a human being. "She passed away 5 years ago." I froze. My brain refused to process his words. I told him about the house, the store, the people. He shook his head and said, "That village has been abandoned for years." I felt sick. Like the world was tilting sideways. Like my memories were insects crawling under my skin. Then he said the sentence that tore my reality in half. "You experienced a psychotic break, a complete disconnection from reality. None of what you described physically happened. Your mind created all of it." I asked him the question that still haunts me. Then where was I? He didn't answer, because he didn't know. Nobody does. And that's the part that scares me the most. Because if I wasn't in the village, if the house wasn't real, if my grandmother is gone, if the people staring at me never existed, then for 2 weeks, where was I?